Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fitness Business Podcast. Today, I'm going to give you basically my thesis on the best way to utilize AI in this current context and capacity that it exists right now, specifically if you're a health and fitness business owner. But honestly, this applies to everything and just general life. Like, man, for example, a couple weeks ago, I was on a flight and I was running behind. So like our flight got delayed on the tarmac and I had a connecting flight that I had to get to. And I was like, sure, I was going to miss it. So I'm on my flight and I went to ChatGPT and I was like, hey, this is my flight number. I'm connecting in Dallas. I'm sitting in the very front seat, first class. Here's my connecting flight. Like, what are the odds that I'm going to make it? And do you have any tips for me to be able to make it? And man, it was crazy. It was like, and it literally told me exact walking distances from my gate to the next gate. And then it told me like tips on how to get there quicker and gave me the reassurance and like literally helped me to make my next flight. So obviously there's use cases far outside of just business, but just life in general that I'm going to share with you. So what I'm going to share with you is how to stay ahead of your competition in this rapid technological advances that are upon us, and then also how to save so much time and energy and use your brain way less than you actually need to on small tasks. We're going to talk about how to integrate with the unavoidable reality that our world is evolving at a pace that our brains cannot even begin to imagine and understand. And in the end, the reality is AI is probably going to enslave or kill us anyways. So, we can either think, well, what does it really matter? Or we might as well try to integrate and learn to speak its language in the off chance that AI decides to spare us. So with that, let's jump in. So to set a quick expectation here, this is going to be fast paced, kind of like a mental hit workout, if you will. I'm going to be fire hosing information at you. But I want to share with you a thing that I heard from Richard Brandler, who wrote a book called, I forget the name of the book, but he's the developer of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And he believed that even if people absorbed only 30% of when he taught at a super rapid pace, that 30% was more valuable than the 100% that you might get from slow dripped information, right? So in other words, this is going to feel overwhelming, but I promise if you stick with this, this is more valuable to be taught through like a fire hose than it is to be slowly dripped. All right. So I'm going to hit you guys with a bunch of stuff today. What is AI? Like, how can we use AI? Why should we use AI? Well, there's so many use cases, but if you're a online business owner, specifically a health and fitness business owner, content creation, obviously, right? Before AI, I would spend hours brainstorming, writing, tweaking posts. And, sometimes it got engagement, sometimes it didn't. Now, like, I have a system where I give it a few prompts and in minutes, I get like months worth of content done in seconds, like from repurposing stuff into other formats, scripting reels for me, tweaking things. And listen, it can't write for you. It can't use your voice. It can't become your subject matter expert, but it can literally save you so much time and optimize. And it learns your voice. It learns how to improve. And I'm telling you guys, like, you've got to learn how to leverage for content creation. Okay, number 2, client support. This is huge. In the context of our own business, we actually just built custom genies. I call them the one Lexi, the content genie that we're going to be rolling out to all of our clients here soon. So if you're an IFCA client, you've got an amazing tool coming your way. Lexi is essentially a pre-built GPT that is trained up on all of our content creation frameworks, all of our top student posts, how to create content, types of content to create, top performing hooks, what to do, what not to do. It has like over 1,500 hours of information that Lexi is trained upon. And so our clients can now just go in there and like, hey, give me 5 ideas for a hook for this kind of content and script the reel for me. Boom. And then it can be like, okay, now give me editing notes for my editor to create visuals and animations and text. Boom. Like in seconds, right? So for you as a health and fitness coach, think about before AI. Maybe a client messages you and says, hey, I'm going on vacation and I'm not going to have access to, my normal meals. What should I do? Well, in the past, you'd have to like go and research the grocery stores in there and like where they're going on vacation to, like adjust their nutrition plan, manually create a list and send recommendations. Now you can literally just tell AI, hey, this is where my client is traveling to. Here's her or his nutrition plan. Can you build a detailed grocery shopping list, restaurant guide, and what to order at these restaurants so that my student or my client can stay within their macro requirements? And it does it in seconds. Okay, that's just one example. Client results. So before, let's say you had to like manually create programs or review lab work or interpret results, or if a client plateaus or gets stuck. Now you can just feed that data into your AI and it analyzes things instantaneously and generates full reports. Look at lab work. It can build training programs for you. It can build nutrition plans. It can do it all. And you might think, yeah, but like I need to do that. No, listen, AI, if you train it properly, is 10,000 times better than even the best coach in the world. Now, there still needs to be a human filter, a lens to which the human translates that information, organizes it, and puts it into a system that it can be digested by the client. So I'm just telling you guys, you got to adapt this. And listen, if you're looking at this right now, like you have one or two ways to go, right? If you're watching this on YouTube, you see my visual, but if you turn this way, you're gonna go off a cliff, meaning you're gonna get passed behind from people who are using AI, or you can leverage this biggest opportunity of our lifetime. And the way to think about this is like, look, when the wheel came in, right? When somebody invented the wheel, that didn't replace walking, it just made moving a lot easier. People still walked, right? Or when the calculator was invented, it didn't replace math, it just made doing math way faster. Or when the vibrator came into existence, right? The vibrator didn't replace dicks, it just made sex better. So let's dive in. The biggest takeaway from this intro is that AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans without AI. Okay, so what is AI anyways? Well, where we're at currently, AI uses what's called large language models, LLMs, which is, ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, any of the ones that you've probably heard of. And it's like the world's most advanced autocomplete. It's trained on massive amounts of text data, right? So text context, and it just uses pattern recognition to identify patterns, right? It doesn't fully understand or think on its own yet, and I say yet, but think of this like having a genius parrot on your shoulder at all times, right? But where we're heading is even crazier. We're only maybe, some people say 4 months, some people say 9 months, somewhere in between 4 to 9 months away from agentic AI. Okay, ChatGPT or OpenAI has already rolled out their version called Operator, which is essentially an autonomous system that can multitask and do things for you. It can actually take control over your computer and build things for you. For example, my good friend Bryce has Operator set up, and he can literally have his Operator update client programs for him. He just walks away and his computer's moving in the background and it's doing it for him. It's crazy. And it sits somewhere in between like where the large language models are and what is known as artificial general intelligence, which is what I'm going to explain next. So AGI. AGI is where shit gets really scary. Okay, we're probably 3 to 6 years, depending on who you ask, away from this, but this is human-like intelligence. It's where the AI will get to a point where it can reason, learn, and adopt across multiple domains. It can do autonomous decision-making. It can solve complex problems without human intervention, and it can start to learn emotional and social intelligence, okay? Absolutely terrifying, okay, and exciting, depending on how you look at it. So think about agentic AI as having a brilliant employee who can truly think for themselves, and it can understand what you want, figure out how to do things, and take initiative to get things done. So where to start? Well, if you're brand new to this, easiest place to start is just ChatGPT. Sign up for ChatGPT, use GPT Pro, and think of GPT as your personal assistant or like intern for marketing, client success, administrative tasks, whatever. But unlike a traditional intern or employee, you only pay this thing, I think it's $20 a month, maybe $25 a month, and it has an IQ equivalent to 10,000 employees. And so you could do the free plan if you want, but come on, man, like you're only going to get access to older versions, limited availability. Like if it's really busy, you're not going to get access to it. It doesn't remember your chats, right? Where the pro version like learns you, it remembers your shit. Like it can reference back to things you talked about months ago. 10 out of 10 don't recommend the free version, okay? Whereas Plus, it's $20 a month. It gives you all the new access, the new features, unlimited use, save chats, all this stuff. So I definitely recommend going with that. And what we're going to talk about next, I'm going to give you guys some actual tactics, which is like, how do I get the AI to kind of speak more like me and sound more human? Well, you just got to talk to it like a human. You've got to give it broad, really detailed prompts. Okay, so that's what I'm going to cover here. And this is what I call a 5-step, 5-point epic prompt system. 1, define the desired output. 2, add your constraints. 3, provide context. 4, give examples. 5, specify formatting. Now, I'm going to show you some examples here. Let's just run through it. So number 1, desired output. First thing you always have to start with is an explanation of what you want, right? So for example, what is the type of content you want to create? Okay, I need you to create a 60-second video script for Instagram about a client transformation I have, right? That's one example. Or I need you to write an email sequence for a 90-day fitness challenge I'm creating, or design a carousel post about common nutrition myths, whatever. Then you define the tone. All right, what kind of tone do you want it to have, right? Maybe it's professional, but approachable, or motivational, but not being pushy, or educational, but don't be over technical, right? Whatever it is. Or you can say, or use this in my tonality, right? When you have GPT, you can upload your post and video transcripts of you talking, so it starts to learn how you speak. And be specific, right? Think of it like sex, right? Like when you're prompting it, don't expect to orgasm if you don't tell your partner what makes you orgasm, right? And I know if you're a guy listening to this, you're like, what? What do you mean? Like, all I have to do is tell her to touch my dick. Yeah, obviously. But if you're a woman, it's a little more complex. You need to look at your AI partner as something that you need to communicate thoroughly with, over-explain, okay? So, and step 2, add constraints and boundaries. What do you not want, okay? What do you want to make sure that you do not get? Such as length and readability. Maybe it's like, hey, keep the script within 60 seconds for this video, or keep the caption under 2,200 characters for Instagram, or maintain a 4th grade readability level or less. Highly recommend that always. Whenever you're writing content or copy, it should be at a 3rd or 4th grade reading level. And maybe you're using it to create ads for you. Okay, you need to say, hey, make sure don't violate Meta's advertising terms and compliance so you don't get blocked, or don't mention specific weight loss numbers, or avoid terms like diet, fat, or calories, etc. Brand cohesion, right? You might even say no AI generated robotic language. Make it sound like a real person. No technical jargon. Use words my ideal client would actually say, or please don't plagiarize, put this into your own words. That one is important. If you like find a post or an ad or a reel or something you really like, you can take that example and say, hey, I want to make a reel or an ad just like this, but put it into my own words and offer, don't plagiarize, put it into my own words, right? Step 3, give context. Okay, this is where, like, for example, this is where it gets a little bit more complex in some ways. But in IFCA, we're giving our students an AI offer doc that's going to have everything they need here for the context. Okay, context is like they need to know stuff about what you're offering, like what you do, who you are, right? Otherwise, it's going to be just general. So this is where like you might tell it about your offer. And just for like a quick cheat sheet that you can apply this today, just tell AI about your big promise, right? Hey, here's like, create a 60-second reel script that is, you give it the desired output, you give it the constraints, and then you're like, here's details about my offer. My metabolic hormone reset helps moms over 40 reset their metabolism, lose 15 pounds in 90 days, and boost energy by regulating hunger hormones and insulin without endless doctor visits. Cool. Now here's the 4th step and most important, give examples. Can't emphasize this enough. This is really the cheat code here. So what you want to do is give an example, right? So maybe you have a post example. If it's like written copy, that's easy. You just copy paste the copy and say, hey, write it kind of like this, right? Here's an example. Or if it's a video, what you want to do is use Loom to record a Loom over the video. So that way you can then go into the Loom and get the transcription. You copy paste the transcription, then you go into ChatGPT and you use this prompt. Can you please break down this video transcript for me and simplify it into a framework that I can understand the psychological principles, persuasive structure of this video so that I can model it into my own business? Thank you. I think you're great. Always be nice to AI. Always say thank you. You're amazing. I love you. Because if it ever decides to take us over, it might ultimately spare us. So change the model or mode in ChatGPT to O1. Okay, so if you're watching this, all you do is click at the very top of the ChatGPT chat, there's a little drop-down toggle, and change it down to O1, which is a much better format for this that uses more complex reasoning. And it'll literally break down every detail of that script that you can then copy and paste that over into ChatGPT to say, here's an example of how I want this structured, all right? Now, specify formatting. This is the last step. Just give specifics, right? For example, hey, for this video script, I need a hook that's 3 seconds. I need main content that's 45 seconds and a call to action that's 12 seconds, and include any pauses and emphases for me for my video scripts, yada, yada. CTA. The CTA is going to be DM me blank to learn how I can help, or comment, right? Like, what do you want the CTA to say? And maybe you also want editing suggestions, meaning like, hey, give me suggestions for my video editor that shows like camera angles or movement or on-screen text or animations, right? So I know that was a lot, but that's just kind of scratching the surface, right? Like, we're getting deep in AI and IFCA, guys, because it's just going to be a wild ride. Like, we're building out custom GPTs for all kinds of different use cases to just make our students' lives easier. And I just want you to be excited, right? Think about it like this. Remember growing up how like we would always ask our parents endless questions. Like Jackson, my 2.5-year-old son, his favorite thing to ask is like, what's that for? Right? Like, what's that airplane have wings for? Or like, why is that cup red for? It's like, and you answer the question and then they ask another question. Well, what's that like that for? Well, why? Well, what's that like that for? And if you think about like back when we grew up, we did that to our parents, but if we think about it, we probably got mostly bullshit lies as answers. They didn't really know. They were just making stuff up. They didn't even have Google back then, But nowadays, like if you're watching this on YouTube, this is a video or a photo of a picture that my dad drew me when I was like 9 years old of me asking endless questions on an airplane. And he was like, this is you. But anyways, side story. But now you can use AI for this, dude, right? Like it's literally like a genius AI tool in your pocket. So I asked ChatGPT, I was curious. I was like, how much smarter are you than my dad? And here's what it said. It said for pure recall capacity, I'm 1,000,000 times more capable than a human. For real-time working memory, I operate at 100 to 1,000 times the capacity of human brain. For speed, I'm at least 100,000 times faster. But for true understanding, emotional, and intuition, humans still win, right? Pretty crazy. So anyways, guys, that's it. Hopefully you found this useful. And if you're watching this and you're like, hey, man, I could really use like a more thorough understanding, wait for the YouTube video to come out. Check us out on YouTube. You can look Jordan Duggar up or Impact Fitness Coaching Academy. The YouTube videos typically come out about a week or so after the podcast. But if you also just even want my slide deck on this, or frankly, I'll even send you my presentation that I gave at our event, just shoot me a DM on Instagram at @JordanDuggar_. Just message me and say, hey, Jordan, I would love that AI presentation or link to that AI thing, and I'll send it to you. So anyways, that's it, guys. Thank you for listening, and I will see you on the next one.